The first thing we see is the woods. A girl recites an incantation as we look into them. Soon we see that girl occupying high school. Once it's over, she gets into a car with her friend, who drops her off at her house. She is Lear, living alone with her mom. Later, she hears her mom crying in her room. This prompts the girl to enter to have a brief talk. Yet the mother did not want Lear to enter and see her like this. We don't know why she is crying. On another day, Lear goes to a book signing. She meets the author of a book on rituals to get it signed. The man offers her some advice to be careful about what she believes in. Her friends are there to get their copies signed too. Then she sits with them at night. One of them reads a passage from the book that pertains to the devil. It states that he doesn't create evil, but rather challenges people's loyalty to God. The boy thinks highly of that passage. Upon arriving home, Lear notices her mom sitting near the entrance. This makes Lear think that something could be wrong. Her mother is upset because Lear came home late. The mom knows what time the book signing ended, long before this moment. Yet her daughter arrives only now. As they slightly argue, Lear says she doesn't recognize her mom anymore. At this point, we discover what the problem is. The reason her mom was crying earlier is that Lear's father passed away. We don't know how it happened, but the mother says their house feels like his funeral to her every day, so she decided to sell it. They are moving to another location, which makes Lear cry. She enters her room, where she loses control. To calm herself, she looks at a book of rituals. She seems to be very interested in this subject for some reason. In the morning, she goes into her mother's room to take out some pictures from under the bed. She looks at them, and we see they contain her dad. At school, she tells her friends the depressing information about her moving. We don't see how the others take it, but her friend, Janice, expresses her disapproval quite strongly. After that, Lear rides out with her mother to the new house. They arrive at a nice cabin in the woods. Lear walks inside the cabin to look at it, though it's uncertain what she thinks of the new place. Eventually, they move there. As they ride, Lear says she doesn't want to change schools. She wants to drive to her current school by herself. The problem with that option is that she doesn't have a car. Her mom makes a deal with her by saying Lear could finish this year at her current school, but next year she has to transfer to a new, closer one. Many hours later, she watches her friends walk away from her at school because she has to ride back home with her mom. It troubles her that she can't spend time with them like she used to. When Lear returns home, she gives her mother an attitude. The lady tells Lear she has to start respecting her. She also takes off Lear's pentagram ring to toss it in the trash. Ever since her father lost his life, she says Lear has been into the occult. Furthermore, the mother calls Lear's friends losers, with Lear becoming just like them. It is very hard for her to move on, because every time she looks at her daughter, she is reminded of her deceased husband. All of this causes Lear to go into the woods, where she unleashes her fury. She even screams that she wants her mother to lose her life. Then she goes into her room to take out an occult book. She writes something on a sheet of paper from it. After collecting some materials from the kitchen, Lear goes back into the woods. Out there, she starts using her gathered materials to perform a ritual. While she does it, she recites the incantation she wrote down. There is a keyword, Pi-Wacket, which she pauses her recital on several times. The most unsettling part of the ritual is Lear's use of a dagger. Once that is over, she returns home. We are left wondering what that was all about. The first thing Lear does is wash her wound in the sink. During dinner, she tries to cut her chicken, but her wound opens to spill blood. Her mother instantly comes to tend to her. Soon enough, they occupy the washroom, where her mom washes Lear's arm. While her arm gets wrapped, Lear says it was an accident. This causes her mother to cry and apologize to Lear for offending her. In the morning, Lear finds dirt near the entrance of the house, so she sweeps it up. Afterward, she comes to look at her mother, who is sleeping. This lowers the chances of it being her who brought in the dirt. Later, both of them go to a store. There, Lear observes a worrisome statement on a card, which pertains to her situation. On their way back home, the mother holds Lear's hand, making the girl happy. Suddenly, a car appears ahead, causing them to swerve off to the side of the road. Could this unfortunate happening have been related to the ritual Lear performed in some way? We cannot shake off this possibility. Then at home, Mom tells Lear that her father drove for 13 hours straight to see Lear be born. The girl replies that he never told her that. Mom adds he was very excited to witness it. He thanked her every night for a year for giving Lear to him. He also thought she was the best thing that happened in his life. Hearing all this makes Lear's eyes teary. While sleeping at night, Lear gets awakened by a loud thud. Noises keep coming from the ceiling, making Lear listen to them in fear. She wakes her mother up to tell her about it. They both check the attic, but nothing is there. After some time, Lear slightly cries as she lies in bed. The following night, we see a shadow forming in her room. Soon it forms completely to stand before a sleeping Lear. When morning comes, she receives an alarming surprise, waking up in the woods with a bloody hand. She starts running back home in fear. Once she gets there, the girl frantically washes her hand. After that, the scene instantly changes to her being at school with her friends. She told them about her bizarre incident because we see one of them, Rob, telling her she's lying. Though what he can't believe most of all is that Lear wanted to eliminate her mom. Due to that, he thinks she might deserve what she experienced. This upsets Lear into walking away from them. But her other friend, Aaron, calls her back because he wants to help. Lear says she can't go back to that house. Janice, however, wants to come over. Such paranormal activity is what she wants to witness. So they ride together to Lear's house. After they have arrived, they sit in Lear's room, where Lear describes what happened with the noise. At night, Janice wants to see where Lear performed her ritual. They go there for Janice to see. Saying that it's creepy there, Janice starts acting weird, which frightens Lear to a degree. She then starts walking into the dark woods, out of Lear's sight. Lear has to state that she's leaving to get Janice to drop her act. Following that, the duo goes back home to sleep. Our view gets focused on Janice, as she lies in the dark. In the morning, another odd activity takes place. Lear's mom wakes Lear up to ask her where Janice is. Lear searches for her in the attic, yet she isn't there. Shortly after, Mom sees her sitting in her car. They come to her, and Janice sits, scared, in the backseat, demanding to be taken home. When the mother opens the door, Janice quickly shuts it. She screams that she's not going back inside. She wanted to experience the paranormal. It seems like she got it to an overflowing extent. The next scene has Lear sitting in class. She texts Janice with a message asking what happened. However, she doesn't get an answer. Riding back home, Lear's mom gets off the phone to tell her daughter that Janice didn't leave her bedroom. At home, Lear searches her box for a specific book. Upon finding it, she searches for the name of its author on the internet. When she finds his website, she sends him a message with the subject line stating she needs urgent help. As she lies sleeping, a response notification wakes her up. It is from the author. Lear gets excited and writes back. On the next day, Lear has a video call with the man. He talks to her about Pyewacket, saying that once the spirit is done with the task Lear asked it to do, it will come after her. She has to perform the same ritual in the same place in reverse to undo what she has done. She also has to ask for forgiveness at every step. The experts' concluding words to her are that Pyewacket can take many forms. That is something she has to keep in mind. Later, she walks on a road near the woods to go back home. On her way, she hears something that scares her, so she begins running back home. Lear collects all the same materials to perform the ritual again when she's at the house. Now comes the time for her to venture back into the woods. Unfortunately, her mother returns while the girl is making headway to her side. She calls out to Lear, but the girl, ignoring her, goes to perform her ritual. In the starting process of repeating it, she gets startled by someone lying nearby. Lear approaches the body to discover it is her mom, appearing pale as if no longer alive. This scares Lear. At the same time, she continues to hear her mother call out to her from the distance. Which one is the real one? We should remember now what the expert told her, that Pyewacket can take many forms. Afterward, Lear calls 911 to say her mom has passed away. Yet the operator hears her mom calling out to her, which makes her tell Lear to put that lady on the phone. With few options left, Lear ends the call to call Aaron for help. She wants him to come out to her. Then we see the lifeless mom's eyes slightly moving. After a while, Aaron texts Lear that he has arrived. It prompts her to walk to the house, but she can't find him. The text was probably fake. Pyewacket's doing as well. Next, she looks at the window to see her mother standing behind it with an expressionless demeanor as she observes Lear. This scares the girl severely. She starts walking away. Yet her mom is now outside, calling out to her. With a strange voice, she tells Lear to come inside. Once there, her mom mentions the dagger Lear is holding. Lear says she should put it away, so she goes to do that, barricading her door with a chair. It doesn't take long for her fake mother to try to get in. As she slams into the door, she breaks the chair after a few attempts. This is Lear's cue to escape through the window if she wants to survive. At that point, we see that Pyewacket no longer has her mother's form as it starts getting in. It is a dark being, whose appearance can haunt someone forever. Lear manages to escape outside. Soon enough, we see the frightening sight of the monster coming out and going after her on all fours. Lear decides to run back home to enter the attic. It is perhaps her best choice to hide. In there, she sits, pleading in fear for her life. The light then turns on. Her mom appears there, a normal-looking version of her. She tells her daughter to give her the knife, but Lear responds in fear, screaming that she knows who her mother truly is. The mother's reaction is to come forth and gently take the knife away. The next scene has them sitting elsewhere in the house. Lear's mom asks what she was doing in the woods. She also says she was calling for her. Furthermore, she questions what the knife was for. Lear does not answer anything, she just sits there, traumatized. Her mother tells her she will keep the knife for tonight. Sitting in her room alone, Lear sees a glass shard that was created from the damage Pyewacket caused. She takes it to go outside with it, where she uses the shard to cut a part of the hose off. After that, she uses the partial hose to subtract gas from her mom's car into a bucket. Lear's next action is entering her mother's room. She looks at her in scared silence for a few seconds. Then she spills the gas from the bucket on her, which she quickly lights on fire. Lear watches her burn, perhaps thinking she destroyed Pyewacket. Shortly after, Aaron arrives at the burning house. He finds Lear lying on the ground next to it. The boy shows his friendship by saving her. An unknown amount of time later, Lear sits in an interrogation room at a police station. She listens to a recording of the 911 call she had in the woods. A lawman sits before her, saying that they didn't find her mother in the woods. The only body they found was the one in the house, which was burnt to ash. This information makes Lear show immense disbelief, mixed with grief. Pyewacket got away, and she got what she performed her ritual for.